Hello, dear friends, and welcome to Kardec Video, our daily prayer moment. We are extremely grateful to have this opportunity to gather around elevating our thinking and our feelings to connect with God at least once a day all together in this intercontinental platform in which we gather. We're turning consciously, we're turning the mirror of our soul towards God and the higher realms in Jesus, Mother Mary, the good spirits, the healing doctors, our own mentors, in order to reflect the beauty, the love, and the light that comes from the higher realms back into our own being. And as a result of that, we're invited to spread the love, the light, the beauty that we receive from on high among our brothers and sisters. Today, we will be reading a chapter from the book, Our Daily Bread, and it is chapter 159. This book is written by the Spirit Emmanuel through Chico Xavier. Chapter 159 on page 351, if you would like to follow along. The chapter is entitled Possessing the Kingdom. Possessing the Kingdom. It starts off. Actually, I apologize. I had it on the page of the ending page. It's chapter 158, and it's called Our Inner Government. So chapter 158, I apologize, friends. It starts with a quote by Paul in Corinthians. I have subjugated my body and have reduced it to servitude, so that in preaching to others, I myself may not in any way be reproved. So here's what Emmanuel teaches us. Actually, the body is a miniature of the universe. It is indispensable, therefore, to know how to govern the body. As an earthly material representation of the Spirit's personality, the body is reasonable for each one of us to pay attention to its dispositions. It is not that passive substance has more power than human will. However, it is imperative to realize that our inferior tendencies are intent on taking the power of control away from us. So Emmanuel is educating us by teaching us that our bodies are like a miniature universe. Our bodies are representing the universe in miniature form, and that our bodies need to be governed, because without the Spirit, our bodies would be inert matter. So it is our spirit who rules over our body, and that needs to be done wisely. So let us see how Emmanuel directs us. It is crucial for each individual to be alert as to his or her self-governance. So we are asked, we're invited, we must self-govern our own bodies. The inner life in some ways resembles the life of a state. So our inner life resembles that of a state. The spirit assumes self-control and is assisted by various ministries, such as the ministry of reflection, the ministry of knowledge, the ministry of understanding, the ministry of respect, and the ministry of orderliness. Diverse and simultaneous thoughts comprise good or bad appeals from our inner parliament. In the depths of each mind, there is broad potential for progress and sublimation, but it requires work. So Emmanuel is hinting towards one major ingredient, one major position in our being that helps us to govern our body. First of all, he invites us to understand that there's different ministries. And then he says that the ministries are being guided by our thoughts. And our thoughts can either be directed towards the good or towards evil. As supreme governor of the cellular cosmos, the spirit issues beneficial laws, but it does not always mobilize the monitoring organs. The inferior zones continue their previous disorder, disregarding renewing decrees that they neither defy nor carry out. When this anomaly occurs, the individual actually becomes a living enigma, if not a blind or evil person. So, if the mind is influenced by the inferior zones, whose entry points come from the sexual area and the digestive area, as André Louise teaches us in Life Goes On, then we may be in trouble. Whoever expects to live a healthy life without self-discipline is not far from ruinous or complete imbalance. So self-discipline is of utmost importance. And now Emmanuel wraps it all up in our guideline for the day. It is necessary to implement our self-governance in every position in life. The fundamental issue resides in a strong will towards ourselves and goodwill towards our brothers and sisters. So here it is. Here is our recipe for success, the will. So we need a strong will directed towards the good, towards goodwill, towards charity, which is defined by goodwill, indulgence towards others' imperfections, and forgiveness towards others' trespasses. So a will that needs to direct our mind, rule over our mind, and since thought is life, that will allow our body to do the right things too. So when we go to Emmanuel's Thought in Life, in chapter 2, early on in the book, he introduces to us the will, and he explains to us. He starts off the chapter by saying we can compare the human mind, which is the living mirror of awakened consciousness, to a large office subdivided into many departments. So just like in our daily bread, Emmanuel compares the mind to different compartments. It's like a large corporation. And he says there is a department of intelligence, the department of imagination, there's the department of memory, and many more, as we just heard also here in our daily bread in this chapter. But all these departments need a boss, so to speak, like a corporation, a CEO, somebody who is in charge. That is the will. However, in that chapter, Emmanuel also teaches us it's not enough to just have a position and have it just be filled. Because we know that a manager needs to be educated. A manager needs to be ready to take on this huge task of running this organization. And in this case, the will managing our mind and its many departments. So then what does the will need? Well, Emmanuel gives us the answer again. Emmanuel says that the will, most and foremost, needs to learn to cooperate. Needs to learn to cooperate with God. We always say to align our own will with God's will. That's a form of cooperation. Furthermore, the mind needs to learn to cooperate with fellow citizens, both incarnates as well as discarnates. So he ends the chapter of cooperation, which is chapter 3 in Thought and Life, by saying, he who helps others will himself be helped and will silently find that this is the most secure formula for readjustment in the evolutionary process. So the mind needs to learn to cooperate in a charitable way with discarnate and incarnate spirits, and to always align itself with God's will, because of course God's will is the utmost of authority. And then the will needs to be educated, instructed. And then Emmanuel brings to us the concept of a bird. We are like a bird. A bird has two wings. And these two wings for us in our own being are love and wisdom. So now we learn that our will, in order for us to be having a successful incarnation, turning ourselves towards the good in the most effective way, we need to strengthen these two wings equally. We need to study in order to educate our will, and we need to practice love. We need to practice service. We need to practice charity. We need to create this incessant goodwill, always feeling indulgent towards others' imperfections, and always being forgiving. And it's in chapter 10 of Thought in Life when Emmanuel then gives us the ultimate guideline when he says we need to seek goodness, we need to feel goodness, we need to visualize goodness and mold it with all the resources we have at hand. And that means that our will guide our mind, our feelings, our body towards the goodness, the goodwill that Emmanuel speaks about in the final sentence of Thought in Life. And we'll say it again, which wraps it up beautifully. It is therefore necessary to implement our self-governance in every position in life. The fundamental issue resides in a strong will towards ourselves, the will that governs the departments of our mind. And he says, goodwill towards our brothers and sisters. Dear friends, let us wrap up with a prayer. And we're going to bring a little music in to open our hearts so we can balance the heart and the mind. So we invite you to please close your eyes if you can and reconnect with God, with Jesus, Mother Mary, spirits on high, the mentors of Kardec Radio, the mentors of the Pray Daily Prayer Group, and our own mentors and guardian spirits. Thank you on high for protecting us on this path towards perfection, protecting us via allowing us to study. Thank you for bringing all these immeasurable teachings to us so we can learn to educate our will for success, to always visualize the good and feel the good in every situation and in everyone who crosses our path, to always mold the good with all the resources we have, which starts with our thinking, our words, our actions. Let us always remember to pray, as we know that the connection to God and the higher realms will bring the love and light into our own being and life and that of our family and friends. And it will help us protect our own selves and our families as well. And let us strengthen our will to a point that our mind and our heart will be in charge via the will, and that we will not surrender to our lower areas in our body to run the show. Thank you for this guidance today, Emmanuel and Chico Xavier, who brought this message to us, the translators and publishers, Kardec Radio, and all of you friends who joined us. We are immensely grateful for this opportunity of learning and serving, strengthening the two wings that need to be strengthened for us to ascend to God. And so be it. Thank you, dear friends. Thank you for joining Daniel and Nora and Abby and Beth and Soul and some others. Much love and have a beautiful day. God bless you.